Alright, are we good to go? I think we are, yeah. Hmm. Reynard has a lot of options, actually. A lot of them don't matter, though. Okay. Hmm. 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 Ugh. All right. So, yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of potential work here. These aren't the final decisions on supports. It's more just I'm compiling a list of the ones that seem valuable. Yeah, this is pretty clear. Yvonne, Callum, B, automatic, I think, which is useful because we don't have to worry about that. But then I have to decide where else I'm going with her. Assuming that everything goes well. Where the hell is she? Callum and Thorn, those are the only two. Which is weird. About... Such a bad support, Christ. Well, I mean... Yeah, they're bad. I mean, I'm not wasting a slot on anyone else. With this, like, Thorn is just stats, and stats can be fixed easily, so... No. Like, we're not going that route. Nalani can only be Celeste or Tarek. Really? So it'd be Tarek. But, like, that one's, like... Hey, Flame, it's going well. I'm just setting up, like, the preliminary support ideas. Yeah, you're right. They can never be together because of Centaur glitch. Why do they have supports, then? That's stupid. Freaking Galahad has Randall, Robert, and Thorgrim. Randall and no. Yeah, it's just Galahad is also nothing. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, any abilities he gets go to Randall. So Penelope is plus Gideon automatic. That's the beautiful thing about Penelope. If we use her, it doesn't take up a support slot. Unless I choose to get her a B with somebody. So, her and Celeste is a no-go. Her and Rachel gives do your best to Rachel and live to serve to Penelope. Beatrice and Penelope gives Penelope Tome Fair, which isn't a bad idea. It's not great, but it's not terrible. The hell is Penelope? Penelope only has Celeste, Rachel, and Beatrice. So it's like... It's probably Beatrice as a B support, if I even want to think about it, but it would be like a backup. Because Rachel's not bad, but Beatrice is 9x, which is kind of good, because it means that, like... You know... Like, there's not much going on there. So, Beatrice 9x, maybe? Yeah, exactly. And then Kestra, I believe she has a couple, but not many. Obviously, like... certain Randall man is the best, but yeah, Tarek, Dimitri, Olga, and Kestra, Those are all terrible. I mean, other than Randall. I mean, I could force a Randall just so that she would get Swordfair, which would kind of help her. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, so, like, Kester gets all stats +2 if she does a C with Randall. She learns Heavy Strikes if she's with Olga. With Tarek, she gets Defense 1, HP 2. With Dimitri, she gets Armored Support, which is really funny. That's actually not bad, I don't think. Rebellion, Saga, Armored Support skill. What does it do? When a unit equipped with this skill, they grant 15 hit and 2 damage to all adjacent allies. So, like, hilariously enough, Dimitri is actually not bad. Like, he's technically not the worst idea of all time. You know, but it's like, it's either Randall or it's Dimitri. Because, like, it only requires 1. You know, the good thing about Randall is it costs 1 and then they go right to an A. Because, you know, love and all that. Love and all that shit. So, like, technically, like, she can get Swordfair and all stats +2. Or she can get, you know, Dimitri in 8X, which is kind of tough. Like, honestly, like, that's another slot for that. Whereas, like, what's the Randall one? Is the Randall one... I think the Randall one's also in 8X. So, like, we're getting one or the other. Yeah. I think Randall is probably the best. Randall, plus Randall, probably 8X, or Dimitri, 8X, Armored Blow, Probs Knock. Okay, so, like, I have, like, the general idea of what we could be doing here. So let's start with this. So, Gideon and Penelope, instant A support. We don't need to do anything there. So that one is fine. Helios and Alanora, I'm going with. I did not know there was a mod anniversary either. That's all. 90 months is good. Shout out to 90 months. I don't know. I feel like they added that bullshit for some reason. So yeah, Gideon and Penelope. Yeah, good. Yeah. No effort required. That's an automatic. Helios and Alanora, A support. I think Jacob with Helios is probably the best option because you get Chivalry and you get stat boosts and they both get skills out of it. Like, I think it's actually probably, like, the best solid support we can look for. Because it gives us... Helios and Jacob gives 1 speed to Helios, which is great, and Strength Magic 1 for Jacob, which is already pretty decent. And then in 5X, he gives Jacob Chivalry, which I think increases his damage by 4, which is pretty free. And Alanora and him just... True Bond is so good. Everything is so good with that. It makes both of them so much better. Having extra boosts, especially in this difficulty, like, hell yeah. So, like, I think that's just the automatic. It's weird that they don't have any supports with Gideon, though. You would think they would, considering how close they are. Alanora and Helios A support. And now this is kind of where we have to make a call. Because Alanora with a B support is either going to be Olga or Callum. And Olga would be 5X, 5X and 8X. And Callum would be 2X and 5X. Okay, so Olga gives... Let me just check. So Olga would be 5x, 8x, which would be tough because we're asking for an 8x slot for them. Where is Alanora and Olga? She would give con +2 to Alanora, and I don't care what Olga gets. And then in 8x, Olga would give her survival instincts. And if we look up Rebellion, Saga, Survival Instincts skill, what does it do? Reduces incoming damage taken by your squad. So basically, it's like a defensive buff around them. If we chose to do that. So that's not bad. Now we can go into Callum as a B support, keeping in mind that I have plans for Callum beyond this. That makes things this unlikely that we would do it, but it's something to consider. So Callum would give Magic +2 to Callum and Speed +1 to Alanora, which is, I don't care about that. Callum and Alanora, where the hell is that? Is it at the top? Yeah, it gives insights. Which, insight I think just gives hit, right? Yeah, hit +20. Which, actually, I don't think is super useful. So I think Callum is probably not the answer here, because she doesn't need hit. Olga is probably fine if we have the slot. But if we don't, we just wouldn't go for it. You know? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so like this would require us to use Olga in 5x and 8x, which that alone is dubious because we're going to have to see what we have access to. Callum and Ragnar as an A support and Yvonne as a B support because the C with Yvonne is free, so we don't have to use it, and we're going that way anyway. But we'll get to there in a minute. Angelus has no supports. Ellen has, like, Olga, Henriette, Drago to get resolve. Like, Drago is a weird one with her. Because, like, if Ellen goes with Drago, then you get Nullify. Which is kind of mid, honestly, and it requires an 8x slot. So I'm thinking that it's not worth it for Ellen to get any supports with anybody, because Resolve or Nullify for her doesn't matter. She's not an attacker. So I really don't think there's really much value there. So I'm thinking it's just NA for both of them. Which saves us a slot as well. Because, like, I don't want to be... I don't really want to be using up support slots when we only get 5 per, if we can avoid it. You know, like, technically the good news here is that, like, these two will take up 1 each. You know? Yeah, so, like, if she had, like, something better that boosted her dance, like, gave, like, extra points or something, like, stats when she danced, then I'd think about it, but I don't think it's good. Garant. Garant supports with the darkness because he's an emo bastard. He doesn't have a support. So we don't care about him. Callum and Yvonne to get B level, which would require 5x. That goes without saying because we need that. Ragnar A258. There's a reason why I'm thinking about Ragnar, because Ragnar needs somebody. Ragnar only can do Madeline, Callum, Astrid, and Jack. I mean, I could go Astrid, but we'd have to think about it. And, like, we wouldn't get the full value. So, like, Ragnar and Callum gives Ragnar speed, which is nice. He does not have much speed. Gives Callum strength. It's very basic. Don't really care. The other thought is, like, Madeline and Ragnar, which gives Ragnar speed and Madeline 2 defense. 2 defense means very survivable. Yeah, I'm using Ragnar. I'm going to prove that he's usable. But, like, these 2 Cs aren't terrible. But when we go to B level with Ragnar and Callum, Callum gets Demolish, which is, you know, just a buff for Callum. And Madeline gets Cheer Up, which is like a wave skill kind of thing. But if we were to go to like A level with Ragnar and Callum, it's Axe Fair and Bow Fair. So Callum would get 5 extra damage, and so would Ragnar. So I feel like this is if I'm going to use both of them, this is probably one of the better supports I could give them. You know? Hey, Cannon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I know. Yeah, so I'm thinking that it's probably going to be Ragnar with Callum to get the bow fairs for both of them. And then maybe, you know, Madeline with a B, because it'll give Cheer Up as a skill to Madeline, which is like a wave skill that improves stats. Because here's the thing, right? Because Cheer Up gives 4 physical damage to all adjacent allies. So it's like, once again, we're taking really good use. Yeah, I know. I know. I am willing to do it. Holy crap, my camera's so dark. You know, like, Cheer Up would, like, if I use all these Wave and Tide skills, we may be able to overcome some problems. So I really think that, Ragnar A, or Ragnar and Callum A, Madeline B gets a lot of good stuff out of it. And then to continue with that, yeah. But I think it doesn't hurt, because we need, if we're going to support, we may as well, unless we run out of issues. Madeline with Ragnar B makes sense. And then I actually think Drago might be the play, only because you get a free Pyrian shield if you do it. Which, since we don't have money, getting a free Pyrian shield might be what we need to do. Like, I don't think it's something to discuss. Like, we're going to have more than one flyer. So having a Pyrian shield, having more than one Pyrian shield and getting one for free might be what we need to do. You know, like... Yeah, plus that gives Madeline 2 defense, and Ragnar gets a speed from both of them. So we can actually boost his speed by 2. There's other considerations that we can think about later that will actually matter, such as the skill shops, right? If we can afford them, that might be able to give us lightweight. Sure? Is there, like, support limits or something? Because that would suck. Oh, so Drago's just not an option? Alright. I mean, does he, like, is it part of the PH mode? Oh, I think I know why, actually. I think I know why. Yeah, I think I know why. I did see, like, a little bit of a spoiler once on it. I believe there's Ballista in that chapter's PH mode challenge, which means that in order to actually get him over there, you would have to, like... You would have to somehow get over there after killing all the Ballista, right? And talk to him, or you'd have to, like, lure him over or something. I mean, we could give, like, Bowbreaker to her, and then let her dodge, and then, like, see if she can dodge stuff. That's another option we would have, but, like, if I look into, like, Madeline... Whoops. Let's look into Madeline some more. Like, what else could she do, if anything? Like, Jacob, she could do, but Jacob and her is such a mess, like, support. Because all it does is give, like... It gives Sword Fair to both of them at A level, but otherwise it's, like, all stats plus 1, which is decent. For a B support. A C support with them is strength plus 1. Like, it's so not good, honestly. Like, it's so meh. I feel like Jacob and her is just bad. You know, then you have Ada, but I'm pretty sure it's just Ada gives... like, she's an 8x one, and Ada gives... what? I think it's just giving Ada a skill, honestly. Yeah, well, okay, it gives Ada Warding Blow and boosts all their stats by 1 each. But, like, blah, you know? Like, Ada's not the one who I'd want to learn that. Oh, no. Of course not. You know. Like, Madeline and Ragnar at B level is still super useful because it gives her a Tide skill that reduces damage. Which I think is valuable. Like, if we stack everybody with Tide skills, then we can kind of artificially boost everybody's stats far beyond what they normally would when we're fighting a boss. And considering we'll have to make really quick decisions with that, I think it's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. So, you know. Where is it? May not be able to get. You know, we can pivot. We can pivot if we can't get Drago, because that'll open up a 2x slot. Jacob, I mean, Jacob and Helios to B has already been decided. If we get Alan, it's not the worst idea to get them going, you know? I mean, it's fine. Honestly, like, Quentin's not bad, but, like, we're not gonna get him in B level because we're not keeping Quentin. So, like, no. He would be helpful, but I also think that, like, Jacob and Alan technically gives Jacob warding stance, which I think is really valuable. Olga's an option, but I don't really think it's very good. So, you know, it's like, I'm pretty sure it's just Jacob, you know, Jacob and Alan maybe, but that's a stretch, honestly. Yeah, he gets it with Helios, which we're already gonna do. So let's say Jacob, Helios, and Alan for 5x. Yeah, like, this one is very much like, if we have extra slots, we can go for it, but I wouldn't. Okay, this is interesting, because here is what I want to do with Reynard. I actually want to get him a B support with Walter, because that gets him the haggle skill, which makes half price in shops. If we actually have money, then we could use that with the pond in Chapter 5X to spam money, just basically get whatever we needed. Like, Reynard could just exist to make things cost less. Like, it would reduce the cost by half. If we have the slot, it's not the worst thing to go for. Especially in a run where we're not getting a lot of money. I don't hate it. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. I think it could be useful, but it's like the last, like, if we didn't have it, it would be fine. Penny and Valeria 8x has to happen, because that gives us, that makes her tracking skill improve luck as well, which we're probably going to need if we go 9B, and we'll need it for 10. Yvonne and Callum B is just, yes. So, and like, Yvonne Thorn is the only other one that she can support with, and she gets like 3 strength at a master bow for it, which is like, cool, but at the same time, like, why the hell do we care? Like, we're gonna have the Gale Shot by then, if we get there, you know? So, I think it's just Yvonne, Callum B. We do have to use a slot, I think, for the B support, though. Nalani has Tarek and nobody, so can't really do anything. Galahad has Randall, but Randall gets all the abilities. Like, Galahad doesn't get anything. Penelope, Beatrice, mainly for Tome Fair, because it's 9x. Like, 9x doesn't have many anyway, so, like, this one's pretty free. Like, the good thing about Penelope is, if we use her, she doesn't require any support slots. She's already got an A with Gideon from the get-go, and her C support with Beatrice is 9x. And who the hell has a 9x support? Pretty much nobody, except for, like, Beatrice. So I think it's fine. And then Kestra's a weird one. Because, like, Randall is technically her best support, because she gets a C, and then it goes to an A, so she gets all stats plus 2, and she gets Swordfare. Dimitri is a funny one, because it would give her Armored Blow, which, like, improves her defense, but, like, why the hell would I waste that on that? You know, like, it's probably Randall, just for the hell of it. So, like, this is kind of what we're looking for, but we have to count here. So we've got 1 use of 2x, 2 use of 2x, 3 use of 2x, 4 use of 2x, 5 use of 2x. Yeah, so we have 5 2x uses, right? Because, like, Helios and Alanora is 1. Jacob and Helios is 2. Callum and Yvonne. I'll just add it here, just to be like, you know, just to be super safe. So 2x supports. Where the hell is my thing? I have to make this wider. There we go. So Helios plus Alanora. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, Helios and Alanora. Helios and Jacob. Plus Jacob. Helios, Alanora, Helios, Jacob. And then we move to Callum and Ragnar. Callum plus Ragnar. Yeah, Callum plus Ragnar. Callum plus Madeline. Or no, Ragnar and Madeline, sorry. Ragnar plus Madeline. And we already have that. And then Reynard and Walter. Yeah, Reynard and Walter. That's perfect. We have 5 for 2x that are perfect. That works really well. So I think that's probably what we're going to do. Assuming, like, the 5x part is kind of the hardest. Because, you know, certain things don't happen if we don't do that. So 5x supports. So first, Helios plus Alanora. Yeah, we'll just do them in order so that I don't forget. Helios, Alanora, Helios plus Jacob. This one we might have to make some tough decisions, because I'm a little nervous about this one. Helios, Alanora. I mean, Olga, I'm not even prioritizing Olga right now. Callum and Ragnar, and Callum and Yvonne. Callum plus Yvonne. Callum plus Ragnar. Okay, in just a second. I don't like that this is set this way. Can I go back anymore? No, I can't. Son of a bitch. Yeah. I can just say maybe not. Yeah, okay, yeah. So Callum and Ragnar. I would argue that tide skills are just as important, because they can make certain units much better. But we probably won't have to make that call too many times. I don't know. We're gonna have to see here. This is gonna be a tough decision. All right. So Helios and Eleonora. So like we're not doing the Olga one. The Olga one is too hard to get, so there's no point. Callum and Yvonne, Callum and Ragnar. Ragnar and Madeline. Ragnar, Madeline, Reynard, Walter. So, that's a little bit, like, we've got 6, so we're gonna have to cut one, I think, which is annoying. We'll just make sure we have all of these correct. Helios Eleonora. Yeah, Helios Eleonora. Helios Jacob for 5x. And then Callum and Yvonne for 5x. And Callum and Ragnar 5x. And then Ragnar Madeline. I mean, Madeline Drago. Yeah, like Madeline Drago, which is probably not happening. Drago. Tyrion Shield, probably not. You vote to cut Reynard? Yeah, so right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because, like, let's think about what we get on each one. Jacob, Chivalry, aptitude, skill thing. That's not what it's called, but we know what it is. Promotion, Yvonne, plus strike skill. You know, Callum and Ragnar. I forgot what they give, but like below skills. Ragnar and Madeline here up. Reynard, Walter, Barter. Yeah, the first 4 are kind of the ones we want. And then we have to choose between 3 here. I think Madeline Drago probably doesn't make the cut because we would have to put it in a slot for 2x, which we're not doing. So let's get rid of that. So now we're down to 6. Cheer Up is really good. So it's like, it's barter. Keep in mind that like the first 4 are required to get to A, like, they help with rank. So, like, yeah, but, like, what happens if... I mean, here's the thing, right? If the God Pond is actually the God Pond, and we get lucky again, then theoretically barter doesn't matter. Because we'll just get a billion Thorons anyway, and we'll kick ass. Assuming I get that lucky again. So I kind of think that Reynard and, you know, Reynard barter isn't that big of a deal. It would be nice to have. Because it would really make 9x a lot more doable. Because, like, like, Nosferatu would cost 6k instead of 12k. And, like, I'm not saying we're using it, but theoretical. Alright, what's up? And no, if Garen has to do another atrocity, I'm not doing that. Well, that would mean that 2x would open up for something else. Yeah, but what would you replace it with? What would you replace Reynard and Walter with? As an option. Like Walter with someone else? That's not a bad idea, actually. I just want to check what Walter gives first. Just to see if he has, like, some other weird, useful things. Aubrey, Walter, Reynard. Because Reynard gets 3 luck if we do that, which isn't bad, but it's also not that helpful. And Jacob and Madeline give both of them +1, which might matter. Jacob, Quinton also, but, like, that would muddy stuff. Yeah, so, like, I think the only other one, theoretically, that makes any sense would be... Yeah, that's the only one, if that we're not already doing. Because we're not getting Aubrey, most likely. Like, we're not going to have the money for it. So, that leaves, like, Jacob Quinton, which gives Jacob 1 strength. Or Jacob Madeline, which gives both of them strength +1. If we got Drago, then theoretically we could use it, but then we wouldn't have enough slots for 5x, so it wouldn't matter. So, yeah, it's probably Jacob Madeline then. Yeah, so we can go Jacob Madeline then. Jacob plus Madeline. Because, like, especially early on, like, we need to make them good early, because Madeline, like, you saw what happened in the Lunatic run we did. We couldn't get her going, so she just became shit, and then we couldn't use her. Like, we have to force her to be good early, so that she can catch up. And getting 1 extra strength may matter, because, you know, she's already got insane skill speed, so it doesn't hurt us to do that. So then we cut Reynard, Walter. Let me just think about this for a second, because Jacob and Madeline, Ragnar, Madeline. So yeah, that would give Madeline a B with Ragnar and a C with Jacob. It would give Jacob a B with Helios and a C with Madeline. So yeah, this is, like, we're taking this super serious, you know? Like, we got to nail this. So, you know, I think this is probably okay. Yeah. If we somehow had an extra support in 5x, I don't know, we'd figure something out. But now let's go to 8x. 8x supports. So the 8x supports that we have, that we're going to do, are going to be, obviously, Helios plus Alanora. For 30 determination, which, you know, is fine. It's good. It makes them strong. It makes them powerful. It makes them fierce. You know. And then, you know, then we have what? Ragnar and Callum. Callum for bow plus axe fair, which is solid. It just makes them stronger in every way. Yeah, it gives bow fair to Callum and axe fair to Ragnar. Keep in mind that Ragnar also has 3 paths he can go. He can become a hero, he can become a warrior with bows, or he can become a berserker with 15 crit boost. So, like, we're gonna have choices we can make on that. I don't know if hero is the path. It really depends on what Helios is. And, you know, I know Berserker's super fun. Because, like, I loved Hero Helios, but I really like General Helios. Like, General Helios was like a wagon, and he was way better than I thought he was gonna be. And Swordmaster Helios only works with the Hellblazer, honestly. I don't think he's the best unit to use in the hardest runs. Yeah, so consider Ragnar with 32 strength, plus heavy strikes, plus axe fair, plus his god axe or brave axes, plus any other skill we choose to give him that could boost his stats. Like, he could be ridiculous. You know, the problem is, like, how buff is he? In terms of, like, he needs to be built like a general almost. And he needs to be able to take magic hits. So we'll kind of have to monitor how he's doing as we go. But I think that stuff is, like, a requirement. And then Callum and Ragnar we already have. Ragnar and Callum we already did. Helios. So Penny and Valeria has to happen. Valeria, because that gives us Master Tracker, which not only lets you find items when you use it, but everyone within 2 spaces of her gets 10 luck and 10 skill, which is nuts. Like, what the hell, man? Like, not only does it increase skill procs, but it increases crit avoid and luck. And, you know, luck does a lot of shit. And, like, Arms Thrift, if we put it on Helios again, which I'm probably going to try to do, honestly, because Arm Thrift Helios with Hellblazer is just too good. You know, you just end up with, like, an insane Helios that will always proc Igneous, and he'll have, like, 76 luck. Which means that he'll never use up any of his usages, and you can just waltz him into a thing with Pub Ice and just have fun, you know? And, like, we could even put Renewal on him if we wanted to be, like, hilarious about it. You know, if you put Renewal on... I put it on Jacob last time, but you could put it on, like, Galahad, or you could put it on Helios. Then Helios would just heal 20% when he ever got hit. You know, like, that's another option we could do. But we do have to be careful, because remember, last time, like, Helios is only allowed 5 slots because of a glitch or whatever. Which I hate, but whatever. Yeah, so Penny, Valeria, Master Tracker... and then Kestra and Randall. We actually have an extra slot now. The swords guaranteed A in 9x. Equals sword fair. So those are 4. So we actually have an extra slot. What do we want to do with the other 8x, you know? Do we want to get Armored Blow for her? Because we could do it. We would have the slot, but is there something better we could do? Like, technically we could get Ash, right? Like, do we need a slot to add Ash to the thing? We could also do Callum Yvonne to get an A, which would give Yvonne Bowfair, but it seems like overkill, honestly. I mean, what else? What are the options we have in 8x for, like, C supports? Eleanor and Nathaniel, Eleanor, Olga, but we would have to get Olga in 5x if we can't do. Rosalina, no. Put that. Jacob and Olga, no. Jacob and Alan. I mean, Jacob Allen, but I don't think we put Allen as an option. Yeah, we didn't do Jacob Allen in C, or in 5x, because we don't have the slots for it. So that's not a thing we can do. Walter Burt. No. Helios and Ada would give Ada Armored Blow, don't care. Ragnar and Jack doesn't work. Callum and Penny would give Penny Blinding Shot. I mean, that's funny. If we had Aubrey, we could get Penny a Wrath Ring. Nalani and Tarek doesn't work. Olga Kestra would give Kestra Heavy Strikes, but, like... Tarek and Reynard gives Tarek Blazing Charge and gives Reynard Blazing Charge. I mean, Rachel Penelope gives Do Your Best and would give her Live to Serve, which heals when she heals, which is fine. Moriana and Callum would give Callum Quick Draw. That's something to think about, right? Moriana and Callum as a C support gives Callum Quick Draw. No bird, no bird. Like, I don't know. That's not the worst. Yeah, it would add an extra 5 damage when he initiates, plus Bowfair gives him 10 damage. But, like, so it's either Penny and Callum. Well, actually, wait a minute. Because we can't do that. Callum doesn't have enough slots, because he'll have an A with Ragnar, and he'll have a B with Yvonne. So, does that max out his slots or not? Like, does Yvonne count as requirements? Like, does he lose support points because he gets it with Yvonne? I don't know if he does. Yeah, if he has an extra slot... let me check. I don't know if AI will tell me. Rebellion, Saga, does Yvonne, Callum, support take up a support slot? It probably doesn't know what I'm talking about. Support slot. Can Callum have an A support with someone, a B with Yvonne, then a C with someone else? Nah, it doesn't know. The system doesn't know. But it's like, so it will work. Yeah, so if that's the case, do we give him Quick Draw or do we give Penny Blinding Strike? I feel like Penny's not going to attack, and like her attacking is kind of super dangerous, honestly. Because like if she's not very strong. So like if she tries to fight a boss, it's not like she can use bows either. So like she doesn't have longbow usage to proc it. Yeah, so I think Moriana Callum is probably the answer here. Moriana plus Callum for Quick Draw. Quick Draw if he has the slots. If not, do we have a backup? It could be Rachel Penelope. Like, Rachel Penelope is an okay backup. Rachel Penelope or Kestra Olga. Because Heavy Strikes... Yeah. Yeah, so Rachel Penelope, Kestra Olga. Olda. Yeah, so like... Yeah, so I think Moriana and Callum is probably the best. And then 9X is the last one. Will be, like, there's gonna be two, so it's gonna be Penelope plus... what's her face? I always forget her name. Beatrice. Beatrice Tome Fair. And then Kestra plus Randall Sword Fair. And then 3 more IDK. I know. But I have to. It's hard. What's up, Awful? Okay, so the supports we have then are Helios Alinora, Helios Jacob. Well, I didn't write down what they give. Let's go back to figure out what we get from each one, because I'm insane and I hate myself. Okay, Helios Alinora, Strength Skill, Magic Skill, Stir, or +1 Stir / Skill, +1 mag skill. Yeah, most of them are automatic. Helios and Jacob, I think, is strength +1. Helios gets speed, Jacob gets strength magic. Helios, speed +1, Jacob, stir plus mag +1. Callum, Ragnar, I believe it is Callum, stir +1, Ragnar +1. But let me just make sure. Callum and Ragnar, yeah, speed and then strength. Yeah. And then Ragnar and Madeline is Madeline Death +2, easily the best one. Ragnar, speed +1. And then Jacob, Madeline is both strength +1. Okay, so I think that makes sense. Let me just... And then 5x, Helios and Eleonora, we get aptitude, the aptitude skill or whatever the hell it's called. Helios and Jacob gives Jacob chivalry. Callum and Yvonne gives promotion Yvonne plus the strike skill, which is quick draw. So I'll just write quick draw. Draw. Callum, Ragnar. Callum, Ragnar, what do they get for 5x? Callum and Ragnar. Oh, Callum gets demolish. Rebellion, Saga, demolish. Skill, what does it do? +5 damage whenever weapon's might is higher than his opponent's weapon. So like for a great bow or something, it's not that great, but it's fine. It's fine. Demolish for Callum. Max is good. He do what he do. And then Madeline gets cheer up from this, and then 8x gives us determination, so 30% proc increase when their HP's at 50% or lower. Ragnar and Callum, bow plus axe fair for each of them. Penny and Valeria, master tracker for Penny. And I think Valeria might get something, but who gives a shit. Kestra and Randall, swords guaranteed A and 9x. And sword fair and slash all stats +2. Moriana and Callum, quick draw if he has the slot. If not, Rachel, Penelope, lift to serve, or Kestra, Olga, heavy strikes. And then Penelope, Beatrice for tome fair. For Penelope. Kestra, Randall, sword fair for both. And 3 more, who gives a shit. Alright, so I think we're good with this stuff now. So now we'll move on to the way route splits are going to work. So route splits for 3B and 9B, or 3A and 9A. I'm probably going to like save before I make the choices on either one. But if I can get to 3B and 9B, I will. If I can get to 3B and 9B, I will. If not, we'll pivot. So, like, we can always save state in a slot before we make the call. But I'm going to try to get to 3B and 9B if I can, just because 3B is more... Like, they're both very important, because 3B... Yeah. The thing about 3B, right, is that 4B becomes a lot easier to get the scroll, and you put in a way better position to get Yvonne to where you need to get to, which we have to do anyway. If we go to 3A, then Chapter 4A becomes a little bit worse. And we get Renewal if we take 3B, and we get Nalani, who's very good. If not, then we have to, like, pivot to something else. you know, and if I was doing 3B, I'm not going to try to get trample. The main goal is to just get through it, honestly, and get renewal and get the scroll. Like, that would be all I'd care about. I wouldn't try to kill all the centaurs if it's even possible to do, but I'm sure there's going to be like Fog of War or some garbage on that map that makes it worse. No fucking doubt. So we'll try. 9B, I want 9B because the movement order is busted in 10, like I talked about it yesterday. If you can get movement, you can get like movement plus 3 or 4 in chapter 10, and it would make it a lot more doable to wipe out a bunch of... Because, like, I don't know if I'll be able to wipe out any of the Lightbringer Royals, but if I could do it, then it would basically destroy most of the reinforcements. But, like, I don't know what PH mode will be on that map, so it might be impossible anyway. In fact, it probably is. But, I mean, I could do 9A as well. It's just... Like, we'll find out. But, like, I'll try. Okay, next we have rallies. Okay, I want to try to get rallies that will help me, right? But, you know, we have to see which ones are worth getting, because honestly, like, it's not something I want to kind of worry about. Like, we get Rose Knight's Charge and Paladin's Vigilance by default. Buggy Blast I want. So Buggy Blast is Tavern before turn 7, chapter 1. I want it. Because Buggy Blast is really good. 5 attack and 2 speed, or whatever the hell it is. Like, 4A was only possible, or 3B was only possible on Lunatic before because we had that. The next one is Chapter 2, is Divine's Mercy. Plus 7 res to deployed units at the start of the battle. Defeat Fred in combat. Don't defeat him in combat. Lure him onto the bridge and drop him into the river. I mean, we might have to do that anyway, so we're probably going to get Divine's Mercy if we can do the bridge thing. Drop Fred on bridge. Don't need, but might get. You know, which is fine. Then we move on to Cry of the Lone Wolf. We're not getting that, because I'm picking Reynard. So, Cry of Lone Wolf. Take nobody to X. No. Not getting. Taking Reynard. Yeah, I know. I got it and I never used it. It's kind of shitty. Okay, Scavenger's Ploy. Or Sentry's Vigil. So, like, you know, like, we automatically get those. Like, Sentry's Vigil is not actually bad if Fog of War becomes a PH, like, magical thing, honestly. Scavenger's Ploy is shit. Scavenger's Ploy 3A. Not useful, really. Yeah. I mean, Sentry's Vigil is better, but we'd have to go through hell for it. Plus 7 vision, chapter 3B. Could be useful. I mean, it has to be, because 3B, who the hell would do 3B for any other reason? 3B is like the worst map I've ever played. And I've played freaking conquest maps full of ninjas, where you have to do like fucking calculus to figure out how much damage they're gonna do to you. Fucking, you know. Okay, Veteran Surge. Obtain Cicero's scroll by defeating the 4 Dust Doctor commanders before Striker is killed. I mean, really depends on what the PH mode thing is, but if I could get Veteran Surge, I would want it. Chapter 4, kill 4 Dusk before Striker dies. I want it. It's like a decent order to use when you got nothing else to do. You know, so like, you know, I'll just bold all of the actual decisions. Just so that, like, if we look at this, because I'm going to use this as a guide later on what we're actually doing, just to make sure we're following all of our plans. Because, like, I mean, a lot of these are automatic, too, which is nice. Because, like, we don't have to do anything crazy to get a lot of them. Veteran Surge, though. Second Wind. Fully heals all injured units. Defeat the Golem before it powers up a 3rd time. I mean, yay, but, like... last time we barely got that. And I doubt it too. Second Wind. Chapter 5. What? 5. Kill Golem before 3rd power up. 25 EXP for all. Heals everyone. Sure, if we get... Or... Meh. Yeah, like, I mean, if we got it, great, but I'd probably never use it. Honestly. Bulwark of Steel. I don't think we're getting Bulwark of Steel, honestly. Because we'd have to give up a slot in 5X for it. Well, actually... Well, no. I mean, that's not a support one, though. That's just like an EXP one, right? Bulwark of Steel. It's Bulwark. I can't spell. -3 damage. For 5 turns. 5x. Talk to Thorgrim. Uses EXP combo. Maybe. Yeah. That one we'll decide on later. Bolstering Banner. Gideon crosses the bridge before turn 7 on Lunatic. I mean, I don't care. Bolstering Banner. Chapter 6-2. Cross bridge before turn 7. Meh. Banner. If survive. Gideon. Stat. Yeah, like, bolstering Banner to me is just kind of... Yeah. Will probably get. Yeah, we're gonna have to be fast. And then we have Shrine's Blessing, which is must have Mortimer channel the Shrine's power at least 8 times. I want that one because it's another good one to just spam when you have nothing else to do. Like, it really works with Helios. But it's 8 shrines. Shrine's Blessing. Chapter 7. I think it's 7, right? Yeah, Chapter 7. Permanent 2 luck buff. Mortimer channel 8 statues. Tough, but yes, if possible. And then we move on to Eternal Vigilance, which is... I don't give a fuck, but I mean, if I'm doing stuff, I'll try to do it anyway. Eternal Vigilance. I hate the boldiness. Chapter 8. Eternal Seal. Never let Shrine get to 100%. Meh. But probably get. Because if I'm letting the Shrine get to 100 anyway, I'm probably getting killed if I even get past it. And then finally, we have Blazing Speed. Defeat the boss in 10 turns or less. That's really hard, but I really want Blazing Speed, if I can get it. It's like one of the best ones. Speed. Permanent +1 move. Kill boss chapter 9A or 9B in 10 turns or less. Which is very hard. Hard, but really wants. And the good news is, like, 9B is not a requirement for it. Like, we can get it on 9A as well. We just have to kill him really fast. Yeah, so, like, we're gonna get Buggy Blast. And then, you know, we're gonna try to get Veteran Surge in Chapter 4. We're gonna try to get Bulwark of Steel. It may be in 5X. And then, so basically it's Chapter 7, Chapter 8, and Chapter 9 are the ones, like 1, 7, 8, 9 are the three where we would like to get it. Hey Freeze, how you doing? Yeah, same. So I honestly think it's not insane to try for that. Doing okay. Oh yeah, you were asking Ken. I'm sure Ken's doing well. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do, because we don't have that much time left. Yep. Is scroll usage. So the main thing, I don't really want to break down every scroll user, because that stuff is like we'll be able to make those calls when we get there, you know, kind of thing. Like we'll have chances to kind of, and it depends on which scrolls we're able to obtain as well, you know. Like, I mean, we've got all this stuff here, so like I think we can get most of them, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that. The main thing that I care about is Bread Scroll. Bread Scroll is what this discussion is about. We need to decide who's getting the Bread Scroll and when we're using it, because that thing is like the one thing that they give to kind of try to balance PH mode. I have a couple of people who I think would be useful to have it. Whoops. God damn it. Okay, yeah, so Bread Scroll is plus 77 percent to stir, comma, Mage skill, slash minus 77% everything else. So it blocks crits, and it gives 77% growth to strength magic skill, but minus 77 to everything. So that sounds terrible. Here are the people. I'm going to give you the possible users. So these are the only 3 people I can think. Yeah, I looked at it, and I think it did show that it does lower everything else by 77. Hey, Crisps. Oh, the reason it did that is because you can't go below 0. So when I showed it for Gideon, the reason it was able to do that is because Gideon has a growth of speed that's 80. Otherwise, it would have showed whatever it was. Unfortunately. I wish it was only 40. I can absolutely verify. Oh, we ran out of stuff. Let's just go back to, like, random part of this. Okay, yeah. Bread Scroll is minus 77 HP, 77 Strength, 77 Match, 77 Skill, minus 77 everything else. Yes. Yeah, Satan Baguette Cannon. And PH is also kind of... He likes doing that shit. Yeah, so I'll give the reasons why Ragnar, I think, isn't bad. He already has, like... His speed growth is already kind of bad, and axe users have such garbage, like, skill anyway, that, like, he needs the help early on for it to work. Let's take a look at him really quick. Ragnar. So Ragnar's growths are 60 strength, 5 magic, 45 skill, 30 speed, 20 luck, 40 defense, and 15 res. So, like, he's very top heavy. Like, he would still have an HP growth of around 30%. His strength would run to 130, which would give him 137, which would give him a chance at getting 2. His magic growth would actually go to 82, so he would get magic consistently, which would let him use, like, the Umbra Axe, or, like, a magical sword, or whatever he chooses to do if we promote him to a warrior, a berserker, whatever. His skill stat would also go up to about 122, which would mean he'd have a shot at 2 skill. It's true, but remember, the supports we give him will give him speed. And if we gave him lightweight, for example, he would also get extra speed if he only had 3 items. So that's a possibility as well, you know? Like, we may be able to fix that. And I'm not saying, like, put the bread scroll on Ragnar, just keep it on him all the time. We could give it to him early on, or anyone early on, to hope that they'll get skill points, just so that they'll be off and running. Like, if he gets, like, 3 or 4 skill, his hit rate will stabilize, and he'll be pretty good. So it's, like, it's not the worst option if we chose to go that route, you know? His biggest thing is hit rate. He would lose defense and res, so, like, theoretically you could do it for a little bit, and he would be valuable. So, like, I think it's possible. Garant. Garen is the next one. The reason Garen is an option is because he has Devil Reversal. So, yeah, I get it. Like, he needs to double as quickly as possible. I think the argument is that it makes he has terrible hit rate when he starts, but if we have him eat what's-her-face, it'll fix that issue. It would make his strength high and his skill high, but, like, his speed stat is pretty shit. The other thing is his luck is 0, so, like, 70, like, low growths, it doesn't really matter for certain people, right? But, like, I also think that, like, Garen is probably not my number 1 pick for it. Honestly. Because, like, you want him to have stuff, too. So, possible patchwork. But not often. I can't spell, holy shit. Okay, Callum is next. Callum I'm also doubtful about. Because Callum's already good, and he's not going to get too much experience early on. Like, his growths are 50, 45, 60, so he would go to 127, 120, and 130, and then he would lose everything else. So, like, he would basically have shots at getting 2 strength magic skill, He already has a lot of skill, though. Like, his speed is kind of his main thing, where you're like, I wish his speed was better. So if we kill his speed, then we're kind of neutering him. You know, and, like, if he can't double, then that becomes problematic. So, like, I don't think, like, possible patchwork, but not often. Yvonne is, like, yeah. Like, you want someone with extreme growths. That's what you want. Like, let's say we pick Madeline, for example. Madeline comes with, I gotta stop looking at that one. This one, like, she's got, like, it would make her magic stat really high. Which isn't bad. Like, how does Madeline have 0% magic growth? That doesn't look right. I think that's incorrect. But if it is correct, that's weird. Because she has a staff. So what the hell? Like, also, like, she needs to be fast. But she's already really fast, though. So it's like, at level 3, she has 15 speed. Like, why do we care? Like, does it matter? Like, she needs 5 points of speed to max out, right? And she's gonna get speed. So, like, she's actually not a bad option for the bread scroll. Because it would give her strength, magic, and skill. It would basically make her a guaranteed strength growth, almost guaranteed magic, and a guaranteed chance of almost getting 2 skill. It would nuke the rest of her stats, though. It would make her kind of hard to be protecty. But, like, I think with patchwork, like, you could theoretically give it to her. Because she starts at such a low level, it's not bad. You know? Like, so, like, Madeline, possible. Yeah. I think, like, if we gave her, let's say she had it for, like, level 4 and 5. And it made sure she got strength, magic, skill every time. And what if she got a 2 level up on all of them? Twice. Like, 4 magic, 4 skill, and 4 strength on her, and then you just take it off her, and you just let her go. Her strength would become really high. Like, the problem that she has for me is that her strength stat is just not good enough for what we need her to do. Like, she will double a lot of people. She just will. But her strength is bad. So, like, you know, Jacob will patch that up. But, like, if you could get her to, like, 14 strength by level 5, that's pretty good. Like, honestly, I think that would actually, if we were using her in 3B, it would give her a way to be not bad. And, like, if, let's say we used the 2k, like, if we had any money from the runners, if we somehow could, and we used it on a Pyrian shield for her early, technically then she could fly off, and she wouldn't get murdered by bows as well, you know? Like, and she'd have the strength, and she'd be able to double certain enemies. Like, it might be not bad, you know? Like, for a little bit, like, temporarily. So, like, I think she is a theoretical option. Yvonne, like, I understand the reasoning you would do it. Because, like, her growth rates are, like, she's got really good growth rates in certain areas. And she's got trash in the 3. Well, she's got trash in 2 of the 3 that would actually help her. It would boost her up to, like, 102 and 107. Which is pretty good. And then her skill would just double, which would let her proc a lot of her skills. So, like, for me, Yvonne, yeah, but the thing is, like, if Yvonne maxes her speed, then you would just stick the bread scroll on her by default. Because if she caps a stat, then who gives a crap if her growth rate is 0, right? Like, if she caps her speed, like, I don't care. And her defense is 5%. Like, minus 77 on that is not going to matter. It would be her res that we would be worried about in that case. So it's like, you know, I mean, what does she start with speed-wise? She starts with... what the fuck? She starts with 8 speed as a fletchling. So, like, let's say that she had a scroll or, like, 50. So, like, 10 levels means she would get 5 speed on average. So if we had average luck, she would have 13 speed upon promotion. Her second level cap would be, like, 20. So, like, you know, if she got, like, if she had a scroll that boosted her speed early, maybe made it like 80 and she got more speed and she got closer to capping it, maybe you could stick the bread scroll on her, and then just kind of like let her ride it and get a bunch of magic and strength, because that was the problem she had before. So like, I think she's good as a temp option. Possible patch work after capping speed. It would hurt her health, but like, there's other things. Patch work. So like, yeah, so I think Ragnar is probably the guy who would use it the most. Ragnar and Madeline would use it early on. The most. But like, the bread scroll would very much be kind of like a Path of Radiance roll. Where like, once you cap all the stats, you know, like the bonus EXP where it has to do 3, so you can cap stats and then use it to force level ups on stats that are less popular. I think that's how we'd have to use the bread scroll. The other thing we can use it for is, if, as long as you don't level up with it, it negates crits. So like, that alone could also be super useful. Like, you just stick it on someone. Like, if I stuck it on Madeline and had her fly somewhere, with having no intention of her fighting, but she just needed to bring someone somewhere, like, theoretically, it just blocks crits, and it's just an extra crit blocker, like an Iron Rune or whatever, so, like, there's nothing wrong with that at all, you know? So, like, I actually think it's pretty good in that way, so, like, we'll be fine. So we're at the last thing here. So, Jack, give Jack Devil Axe from Buggy, Chapter 2, don't let him chop the tree with it, comma, he becomes evil, Garant kills him, Chapter 6. Garant kills the Death Squad boss, Chapter 9. Garant less than 5 atrocities or level up of spear, or he leaves forever. With Garant, we can only commit, we have to be very careful, because if his spear upgrades to the mega spear or whatever, he leaves. And then Gideon gets like Devil's Luck and a bunch of bullshit, and we lose Garant. So we need to make sure Garant never levels up 5 times, which is why, like, having him commit an atrocity in the first chapter is a little risky, because we're leveling up his spear already. You know, which makes me unsure if we're gonna do it. Yeah, exactly. So, like, I almost feel like we just... I mean, the options we have with Garant are 2. So either we commit the atrocity and kill her, and he gets the extra accuracy, or we just stick the bread scroll on him early on and hope that he gets 2 accuracy level up, a couple, like once or twice, and then take it off him. It really depends on what we want to do with that. You know? He took Rosalina's soul. Yeah, so we'll think about it. What else? So we need to get Ragnar's Special Axe, Chapter 2. Jacob, Skill Ring, top... I need to get it this time. Top left, Chapter 2. We need those things, 100%. If 3B, Renewal. Gale Shot, Bow, Chapter 6-2. 4B Kanto Ring from Not. Five Pegasus Drop Throne. True. So I think right now that's most of it, right? Like, is there any other super things that matter? Like, we'll just have to remember per chapter, you know, kind of thing. But I think this is most of, like, the planning that we had, and I think we're in a good spot. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it. I just put it there as a, wouldn't it be neat if we got that? kind of thing. So yeah, so I think we can get a lot of scrolls. We have a good unit selection with supports. We know what we have to do with supports. You know, we have the route split stuff. We know what we're doing with rallies. You know, we have scroll usage potential users / patch jobs. I know, right? And then extra requirements. I mean, there is technically one more thing we would need to discuss that we didn't get a chance to do, which is what are people promoting into? We can take 5 minutes for that. Let's take 5 minutes for that, just to finish off. So let's start with Helios. What is Helios promoting into? He can go either Swordmaster, Hero, or General. Hero gives him axes and swords. Swordmaster gives him a crit boost and gives him swords. And General gives him axe, sword, lances with higher defense and res caps. Yeah, I kind of want General for him. So Helios, General, number 1, Hero, number 2. Alanora, there's only one option for Alanora. Come on now, you guys. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't see us giving her, like, fucking Mage or Sage Knight. Like, why? Why would we do that? Falcon Knight is so much better for her. And we need the flyer. So I'm going Falcon Knight, I think. Number 1. I just can't see a reason we wouldn't use that. Like, Sage is just so generic. And Mage Knight is, like, we already have horses. So Falcon Knight just gives insane mobility. Angelus Ellen, we don't care. Garant. Okay, Garant is an interesting decision. Because he's a bit weird. He has weird promotions. I think we're going to have a pretty obvious decision on this. But... So, Garant has 3 possibilities. He can promote into a Herbal Deer that gives him axes and lances. He can become a General who gets axes, swords, and lances. Or he can become a Duke Knight who just gets lances. So, like, theoretically, when we do all the things for Garant, he's gonna get access to a Devil Axe, a Devil Spear, and a Devil Sword. Like, he will have 3 Devil Weapons. The only way he could utilize all of them would be if he was a General. It would also give him 7 defense, I think, which is kind of insane. Duke Knight is really good because, like, he would be able to kind of use Kanto. He'd have 8 move. But he would also be a horse user. Herbal Deer, or Halberdier, and I don't know why I say Herbal Deer. Halberdier would give him axes and lances. You know, and he would basically be kind of a rock, but he would also be kind of limited in how he could move. I mean, like, his lance is going to be his strongest thing, right? Like, it's going to be his strongest, but... I mean, Duke Knight is good. I mean, General feels like it's where it should go, but then, like, he's fighting with Helios and he's slow, and it becomes problematic. I feel like Herbal Deer or Duke Knight is the right move, but I could see all 3. Like, yeah. I feel like it's either Duke Knight or Herbal Deer. Because, like, we won't really have a Cav other than Gideon by late game, right? Because, like, Reynard, yeah. Yeah, let's say Duke Knight is his number 1 option. And then Halberdier, number 2 / General. Like, either could work. So we'll go there. Callum's already promoted. Okay, Ragnar is the next one. And we can change these as we go if we really want to. Oh my god, come on. Ugh. Ah, I went too far back. Come on, go, 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 go. Okay, okay, okay. So the next one, what was the next one? Next one is Ragnar. So Ragnar is an interesting one because he can go three ways. He can become a hero, which would give him axes and swords. He can become a warrior that would give him axes and bows. Or he can become a berserker that just gives him axes. Yeah, berserker is like the funnest one, honestly. Warrior doesn't really matter much, honestly, because, like, you know, like, bows are great, but, like, we already are gonna have bow users, so, like, I don't think warrior is the pick here. So, I mean, he would get a decent amount of other stats, so it's either hero or berserker. Because, like, he would get sword use, which would allow him to weapon triangle a little bit, you know, but he would need to work on his swords a little. So it's like, what class do you recommend for him? I'm leaning berserker, honestly, but like to give him extra crit with brave weapons, but I don't 100% know. That's fair. Yeah, I guess Berserker is good. He does get to go on peaks with that, and there are like tomahawks and hand axes and things. You know, so sure, we'll give him Berserker. Berserker number 1, hero number 2. Yeah. Madeline. Madeline only has one promotion path that she can take, honestly. So, like, Madeline is just what she's going to end up being. She can only be a Falco Knight. It's her only promotion. So it doesn't matter. Madeline is locked in. Jacob is next. Jacob, I believe Trickster is his best promotion. I think. Where the hell is Jacob? I can't see him right now. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he can become either a Swordmaster, a Trickster, or a... He can be a Dread Fighter. But, like, Trickster seems so much better. But I think it's between Trickster and Dread Fighter. Because Swordmaster... I mean, Swordmaster's also not bad. Like, yeah. Sure. I mean, I could see all three working, but Swordmaster just seems kind of limited for him. He would get a really high crit chance, but like he basically would need to use magic swords all the time to have value, and he wouldn't be very useful. Okay. You didn't make him a Dread Fighter. Yeah, but is he going to get 32 res cap? Is the question I have. Like, his res growth is 45. With scrolls, he would get there. Dread Fighter would give him 7 res, I think. Which is kind of insane. So it would help him a lot to do so. So... Sure, let's go Dread Fighter as 1A. Trickster 1B. Well, I'll say number 2, just to make it clear. So that's fair. You know, I think like I'll take your advice on this. We'll have to see how he grows too, because like if he gets a like we'll see what he ends up doing. But yeah, Dreadfighter is probably a decent thing. He could be a trickster too, but it's just that way. These two both support. I mean, Yvonne is just gonna be adventurer. That's automatic. But what will her original be? Like, I think being, like, the fucking... What do you call it? Like, her first promotion, I think going into, like, the... You know, you've got Archer, Hunter, or Bocav. So Archer gives... like, Bocav gives 4... res, I think? Hunter gives, like... Hunter technically has the best offensive boosts, and Bocat, and, like... Well, actually, no. I feel like Archer or Bocav. Yeah. Archer / Bocav Adventurer. That's just what happens. Nalani only has 1 promotion. Galahad only has 1. Penelope and Kestra don't have any. Okay, so that's it. So these are the promotions we're picking. So, you know, we have Thorn as an option, but like we're probably not using him. Yeah. Well, we wanna clear, right? So we're gonna do everything we can to try and clear. I think we've pretty much covered everything. So yeah, so General for Helios, Falco Knight for Eleonora, Duke Knight for Garant after he eats Rosa. I get you. Berserker for Ragnar, Dreadfighter for Jacob, and Yvonne becomes Archer, Bocav, Adventurer. And that's it. So I think with all of this planning, I think we can do it. We just have to make sure we get like the skill ring and we do all the stuff in the early chapters that we need to get the extra stuff. You know, and if we can do that, then we'll be fine. I like how I said chapter 82. Or 7-2, I think it is. I don't remember. Yeah, we just gotta persevere. We gotta do the best we can. I think, you know, it's not like this is an Iron Man. I'm not Iron Manning this. Fuck that. I like my life. And it would die immediately. Because, like, I don't know what's going on with PH mode. And, like, some of the super strong enemies are just gonna be terrible. Like, they're probably gonna stick adventurers all over the place or something. Just to make my life suck. So, you know, so we have all of the supports we need. We have everything here. I think we're good on this. So next Thursday, we're going to start this run. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just finishing up now. So, I think that this is what we have, this is what we'll do, and we'll kind of see how it goes. We're going to have Angelus, we're going to have a dancer for the first couple chapters. We'll see how we do, we'll see what the game throws at us, but I think this is doable. Is it doable by me? We'll find out. You know, but we've studied about as much as we can, honestly. Pause, champ. Sure. Might be a little glitchy. Okay. I mean, I like showed the example of all the challenges, and I got to see it, so I know that there's, like, Battle Axe Warriors on there. And I said this before. I think the strong enemies suck, but in another way they're great, because they're promoted, so they give more EXP. So, like, we'll be able to snowball people a little bit quicker in the right circumstances if we kill them. We just can't spend a lot of time dilly-dallying around because death squads are going to show up to ruin us. So, like, we're going to have to be relatively quick here on the stuff we're going to do. One RN is going to fuck me all the time. You guys know this. Like, if there's a 3% chance I'm going to get hit, I'm getting hit. It's just what's going to happen. You guys know what my Fire Emblem luck is. It's horrendous. It always has been. You know. But, yeah. I still remember, like, 3% Robert crit that cost me 4 hours in Rebellion, in Anderon Saga. Motherfucker. Yeah, it's true. You know, I'd like to think it makes the rest of my life luckier, but I can't guarantee that either. But yeah. I mean, it makes for good entertainment, you know, when I get mad. Like, you guys get to see me get mad, you know, and then start using the speed up button and turning off animations, and that's fun, right? To watch me just spam fast forward. I appreciate that. I mean, 3B took us like fucking 2 weeks to do. I mean, I only streamed like 3 times a week, but still, it took a long time to beat 3B the first time. Because we were trying to we got Trample and all that other shit, and tried to get Yvonne to 10 for whatever reason. Like, that shit was just... yeesh. Oh, that is the worst, man. That fucking bridge level, I fucking stupid... I talk about those hitboxes for 50 years, I swear. Fucking... oh my god. I actually had like a fucking aneurysm almost or something from that. But you know what? That was clearly a skill issue. I'm gonna say that with a straight face. Even though I could talk about that game for a while. Okay, here's the problem with the new Crash games. The hitboxes are stupid. Like, every hole is like a vortex that's bigger than the hole, so you just fall into the hole when you shouldn't. And it's really hard to tell where you are and where you're gonna die. Sometimes you get killed by stuff that you didn't touch because your hitbox is a little bit bigger than it should be, and you can never really tell when. Oh, I'm sure you can. I'm not good at Crash Bandicoot. I never have been. Yeah. I have never been good at Crash Bandicoot games. I've beaten all of them, but I'm not good at them. But yeah, so that's going to be it for the Fire Emblem portion of this. We're going to do some multiplayer stuff. And then next Thursday we will come back and we will take all the stuff we studied and we will play. And we will see what happens. If it takes me forever to get through the chapters, it's fine. The good news is there's only 10 of them. I'm not... if I can get to chapter 11, sure, but like, what the fuck, man? Like, why would I torture myself more? I mean, 10x will be an option. If I want to do that. And see what PH mode on 10x is. Yeah. But hey, if I can get through this, then, you know, shoutouts to me. And us for planning this. Because, like, you guys give me a lot of stuff to bounce off here. You know, and we have some good knowledge in here. It'll be a team effort if we get through. For sure. You know? And, like, PH modes are gonna suck. Yeah, I think we got a lot of good ideas. I think we have a pretty good idea of how this game works. I mean, the thing is, though, if you get strong enough, eventually, you can just kill the death squads. But, like, you probably can't do that until, like, Chapter 9. But, like, I mean, if I'm going for those, like, the movement order that's 10 turns or less, I'm probably not meeting the death squad. Or, like, by the time they show up, I'm already probably at the end. You could. I mean, I did check the math a little bit. You know, like, I think the bread scroll is going to play a huge role in what happens with this and whether we succeed or not. Because, like, we have to use it correctly early on, and if we do, it can make a big difference. Yeah. Like, we basically have to, like, put it on for, like, 2 levels, and then we have to move it to somebody else. And support bonuses in 2x will help us, but we do have to get to 2x, which is going to be interesting. You know, so, like, Ragnar's going to get a lot of inherent speed. Oh, there is one more thing we'll have to talk about, but we can do it while we're playing, which is the skill shops and what they have. I'll add this to the sheet before, if we can even afford the skills, honestly, because they're going to cost 1,000, so I don't even know if we'll have the money for it. But, you know, it'll be a decision we'll have to make on, like, skills that exist. If we can even get them. Isn't lightweight, like, really good? Sure. It's not lightweight? I can check really quickly. No, I don't have them on me. I don't think it's really there. I can ask it. Let's ask AI. Give me the info. Duelist blow, death blow, darting blow, armored blow. Let's see what AI tells me. So 3A is Duelist Blow, Death Blow, Darting Blow, Armored Blow. Yeah, it doesn't tell me. Well, yeah, we'll probably have to make the decisions when we get there on them. I don't remember exactly what's in them. First one's free, though. Keep that in mind. Remember, the first one is free. I think. Right? Rebellion Saga Chapter 1 Skill Shop. Available skills. Yeah, the first one is in 3A, apparently. But, I don't know. Might be other ones, I don't know. It says that stuff, I don't think it's right. Elbow room. Rebellion, Saga, elbow room, skill, what does it do? +3 damage during combat whenever the user's fighting on a terrain that provides no special effects or bonuses. Is it because Pegasuses don't get boosts when they're on any type of terrain because they're flyers? Is that why? That's pretty good. I mean, that would give Madeline an extra 3 damage. And if we like bread scroll her up to increase her damage even more, for 2 levels, we could theoretically get her to a point where with the killer lance, she could be like one rounding enemies. Because she would have insane crit. You know, it's possible. Yeah, so like elbow room is something we'll think about. Like, I think we'll go for that then. But we'll figure out the rest of them later. +3 damage for flyers all the time. So yeah, so I think that's it for today, you guys. We'll be back Thursday, and we'll kind of look at the other skills by, you know, moment by moment kind of thing as we go. But elbow room seems like a good idea because she's a flyer, so you know. And it's like chapter 2, I kind of want to give her Bowbreaker, honestly. But you could also give like Axebreaker to Helios or something, or whatever the hell you want to do. So we'll see later. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna set up for the multiplayer stuff. BRB.